All right, there is the Dirty Nil, Gallop of the Hounds, the big single from The Lash, which came out in July. And I'm so honored to have Luke Bentham and Kyle Fisher from the Dirty Nil joining me in studio on a Sunday. How's it going, guys?
It's going great. We're very happy to be in St. Catharines, and thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, anytime. I mean, 2 sold-out nights at the Warehouse. Not too many bands are doing that these days. Just talk to me a little bit about St. Catharines and the Nil, because you guys have been playing down in this market quite often, basically since I'm probably the beginning of the career for you guys in the beginning of the band. But it seems like every time we see you, the crowds just grow more and more.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I mean, we've been coming down here for well over 10 years now. I think it all started with our friends Tim and Eric back in the Indoor Shoes days, shows at Mansion House. I think we used to do a couple house shows at 2A Water Street, courtesy of Josh Rickerink. There's some videos, I think, of us playing in that basement on YouTube somewhere. But yeah, we've been coming here forever.
And you guys just wrapped up a big tour of the States as well over the summer, and that was seems like to me a very lengthy run through America, promoting The Lash and out there with Heart Attack Man and the rest of it. So what is touring the States like as a Canadian band in 2025?
Well, I guess it kind of depends on the tour, but it's definitely, the last one was it's a pretty intense schedule, but it's great. I mean, it's one of my favorite places to tour, and I'm sure I can speak for Kyle too on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're obviously fortunate enough that we have fans in the United States. We've toured there for about pretty hard now for the last 10 or 11 years. So, we get the beautiful experience of being welcomed in all of these places. And we hit some kind of out of the way spots this time that were really interesting. South Dakota. We've kind of neglected Florida overall in our kind of last 10 years of touring, and we've been hitting it more recently, so it's really nice to get down there. But my opinions on all these markets have kind of changed. I used to not like LA, and now I love it, and same thing with Florida. I love going to Florida now. We just feel very privileged and fortunate that we get to do this at this point, that we have fans in these places.
Kyle, I know you're really into photography. I'm sure touring through kind of middle America and these flyover states that most people would look at, you get some awesome shots and get to see some really cool stuff in general.
Definitely, yeah. I always feel fortunate that we get to go to these kind of like hidden corners of, these countries that we travel. Like not many people are going through Nebraska or, Kansas or those kinds of places. More people go on the coasts. So it's just fun. I kind of make it part of my daily ritual if I can, just to go for a walk somewhere near the venue and just kind of take pictures of the things that catch my eye. It's a good hobby to have on the road to get you out of the venue and get a little fresh air. But it's great. America has such beautiful topography and landscape in the way that the country is so unique across. Much like Canada, you can go from here to the prairies to the mountains, Maritimes as well. It's just like such vastly different landscape and people. It's a lot of just thankful that I get to do it.
You mentioned touring Canada. That's what you guys are doing right now. Just kicked off a run of Canadian dates. Obviously, 2 sold-out shows here in St. Catharines. But what's coming down the line that you guys are looking forward to in terms of some of your Ontario dates and Quebec and everywhere else that you're going to hit? You're going to hit Western Canada as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to some interesting spots like Burnstown and Vandorf and Galt, and we haven't really played in these places before, so we're interested to see what those are like. But we've got a great thing here in Canada, and we're just excited to get out there and play and headline for these fans, and especially get out to Western Canada, because usually we're doing something much more limited, and it's kind of we're poking up into Canada, and then as part of a Western United States routing. So we're excited to be able to do a bit more of a comprehensive sweep across the country, and even make it out to the island. You know, it really does give you a different appreciation of how lucky we are to live in this country when you get to drive across the entire thing.
That's awesome. The new record, The Lash, I again gave it a spin this morning, kind of reminding myself again of how much I loved it. I really, really enjoyed this one. My wife and I have kind of been having a back and forth, like going through the discography, because we're both big fans of the band. And it's like, okay, well, if Master Volume's here, where's The Lash fit? And then it's like, oh, well, I think this album's better than that. And we still haven't been able to come to a consensus of where it lands, but it does feel like Master Volume, which is a large favorite amongst the fans, and The Lash, they kind of feel like kindred spirits in a lot of ways. And I wonder, when you're picking a set list and when you guys are thinking about playing a show in St. Catharines or wherever you're playing, how do you balance maybe not just pairing songs that go really well together from the same two albums and try to touch on everything? How are you guys figuring out a set list right now with the new songs and so many classic old ones?
Well, we kind of usually start with a bit of a framework in terms of this is kind of how we're going to start it, and this is kind of how we're going to end it, and then we try and have a bunch of other songs in the pool that we can kind of draw from. But I'm definitely guilty of just calling out songs on the fly and saying, let's play this one. And I think, I don't know, it keeps it fun. I don't know how the other people on stage feel about it. But,
keeps you on your toes. It's nice. You know, sometimes you're like, oh, spicy. We're doing that one. All right.
Yeah, but, it's we're really proud of our band. We're proud of our whole discography. And so it is fun to not be chained into like if I may, if you'll indulge me, but in the words of famed Prussian military philosopher Helmut von Moltke, no battle plan ever survives first contact.
I like that. That's a good attitude to have, because it's like you almost end up, you don't quite go for that full-on like Pearl Jam, Grateful Dead of it all, where everything's changing all the time. But it's nice that you're going to get something different each show you go to. And obviously 2 nights in St. Catharines. I know a bunch of people who are going for 2 shows, including our own Ashley Dara, who I'll have to give you guys the tour of the building coming up, because there is a big monument to the Nil in her office that needs to be acknowledged, I think, at some point.
All right.
But
down at our own shrine.
The big thing I want to ask you guys about, and it's such a weird time, it feels like, in the music industry, and everybody's trying to navigate streaming. Everybody's trying to navigate how to actually make a living and make a going of this. But from the fan perspective, what would you say to fans who want to make sure that they are supporting not just Canadian bands, but bands at your level, the level that you're just on that cusp of becoming one of those Billy Talents, Alexis on Fires, and you've had the chance to share stages and learn from those bands in the past, and it feels like you guys are ready to take that next step. What can us as fans do to make sure that we're supporting bands like the Dirty Nil?
Oh, who cares? No, I'm just kidding.
I was just gonna say, if you just walk up to me and give me $100, that supports me pretty well.
That's actually a really great way to do that.
No, but I think that when it comes, and I've had extensive conversations about this with both the guys from Alexis on Fire and Billy Talent, and they are very they feel very grateful and very fortunate that they got to exist as a band at a time where we had kind of a monoculture around music, and we had things like Much Music, and Much Music could break a band overnight, basically, and it did for many Canadian bands.
Big time.
That type of monoculture does not exist anymore, and there are positives and negatives of that. I mean, one of the positives, let's focus on the positives, is that if you're willing to kind of grind out your own world and put your time into that, then people will come. People will join your world, but you do have to obviously work diligently on that, because it's infinite. I can't remember what the number of new songs that hit streaming services every day, but it's some bananas number. I think just in terms of your actual question, the best way to support bands is to go get off the couch, stop doom scrolling, and go see them play a show. And maybe if you can afford it, buy a T-shirt or something, because that is really I think that the most important thing about rock and roll and music in general is getting to share it with other people in a room, and that's something that the digital world will never even come close to approaching.
That's very well said. Let's end it off with where does everybody follow you? Where does everybody find you online? And what shows are not sold out that are coming out? Because I know this tour has been selling pretty well for you guys, so there's not too many tickets left for people to track down and catch you on this run.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I think there's some squeezing room on a lot of them. Galt is sold out, so if you're trying to come to the Farm League Brewing, good luck. But no, there's gonna be some good ones. Ottawa, Oshawa, those are going to be bumping. So if you don't have a ticket, get one fast. And the Dirty Nil everywhere if you're looking for us online.
Yes, and I would also just like to say, shout out to the people that keep hitting us up about little requests every night on our Instagram and everything about birthday wishes that they would like us to say on stage, and trying to I don't know. There's a variety of interesting requests. I just want to say we love you. We'll try and accommodate you, and I admire your optimism.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I guess I've got some requests that I have to get to, and we got a tour of the studio here. I got to give you the Haunted House tour here. Luke, Kyle, thanks for coming in. The Dirty Nil in St. Catharines tonight.